Big questions are now being raised after reports claimed the Trump administration may have covered up a deadly crash that killed 6 troops. Was the March 2026 collision in Iraq's skies truly an accident? Or is there a far more disturbing story now beginning to emerge? Fresh reports are now revealing what may have really caused the deadly KC-135 crash during the controversial Operation Epic Fury. Iran-backed groups are once again sending shockwaves through Washington as Mujtaba Khamenei continues keeping Donald Trump under intense pressure. The deadly collision involving U.S. KC-135 tankers over Iraqi airspace in March 2026 may reportedly not have been a mere accident after all. 2 American KC-135 Stratotankers collided over Iraq on March 12, an incident that killed 6 U.S. service members. A report published by The Atlantic claimed that Iran-backed proxy groups operating inside Iraq were linked to the deadly collision. According to the report, Iraqi resistance fighters allegedly opened fire on the U.S. Air Force refueling aircraft before the crash. The report further claimed that U.S. Central Command was aware Iraqi groups had fired ground-to-air missiles toward the tankers. The alleged missile fire reportedly forced the American crews to carry out sudden evasive maneuvers during the dangerous mission. Iraqi armed group Kataib Hezbollah had also reportedly claimed responsibility for the deadly attack targeting American forces. However, both CENTCOM and the Pentagon publicly maintained that the Midair collision resulted purely from human error. Reports further claimed the 2 Stratotankers were operating a mission to refuel Israeli fighter jets during the conflict. The Atlantic report additionally alleged that the Trump administration deliberately downplayed the growing threat posed by Iran and its proxies. According to the report, the deadly incident forced Washington to reassess Iran's military network as a far more serious danger. Attacks targeting American facilities in Iraq, including the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, also reportedly intensified alarm within Washington. The report further claimed that American officials were already aware Iran-backed groups possessed increasingly advanced military weaponry. This reportedly forced the United States to deploy expensive additional air defense munitions to safeguard American personnel in the region. The rapid depletion of those munitions allegedly triggered growing divisions and concerns inside the Trump administration itself. Reports also claimed Vice President J.D. Vance questioned Pentagon assurances that U.S. munition stockpiles remained fully intact. Meanwhile, Iran is reportedly expanding and upgrading its weapons arsenal in anticipation of another possible phase of war with America. Fresh diplomatic efforts continued as tensions stayed high between the United States, Israel, and Iran. An Iranian source told RIA Novosti that Tehran still possesses advanced weapons that have not yet been used. Iran warned those weapons are ready for deployment if the conflict escalates once again. President Donald Trump said Washington remains prepared for further military action if negotiations collapse. Trump, however, said he was willing to wait a few days to give diplomacy another chance. The latest negotiations focused on ending hostilities and preventing a broader regional conflict. Talks also continued over Iran's nuclear program, sanctions relief, and wider regional security guarantees. Major disagreements still remain over uranium enrichment and the future of Iran's nuclear capabilities. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insisted Iran's uranium enrichment capabilities must be dismantled before any final agreement. Netanyahu warned the conflict cannot truly end while Tehran continues retaining nuclear infrastructure. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump claimed Netanyahu would do whatever I want him to do regarding Iran.
What have you said to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Iran and how long to hold off on strike?
He's fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do. He's a very, very good man. He'll do whatever I want him to do, and he's a great guy. To me, he's a great guy. Don't forget, he was a wartime prime minister, and he's not treated right in Israel, in my opinion. I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister, so maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister. I had a poll this morning. I'm 99%, so that's good. But no, he's a wartime prime minister, and I just don't think they treat him well.
Mr. President,
I think they have a president over there that treats them very poorly.
Meanwhile, Iran tightened monitoring systems and expanded control measures across the strategic Strait of Hormuz. President Donald Trump says the negotiations sit on a borderline between a lasting peace and renewed conflict, warning that the outcome could go either way. Trump adds that an agreement could arrive very quickly, possibly within the next few days, as negotiators work to close remaining gaps. Iran spokesman Esmail Barkai confirms Tehran has received Washington's latest proposal and is carefully reviewing the terms before responding. The new U.S. proposal reportedly demands tougher nuclear restrictions from Iran in exchange for the phased release of frozen Iranian funds. Barkai reiterated Tehran's position that any deal must include the release of frozen assets and the removal of shipping restrictions, calling those points non-negotiable. Pakistan has stepped up mediation efforts, dispatching senior officials to Tehran twice in the past week to help bridge differences and keep talks moving. Reports say Iran has already restarted drone production during the ceasefire, quietly bringing assembly lines and repair facilities back online to replace war losses and expand its fleet. U.S. intelligence now believes Tehran is rebuilding its weapons arsenal significantly faster than early post-strike estimates suggested, forcing analysts to revise their timelines. American officials say Iran has already exceeded the initial reconstruction schedules that Washington drew up, demonstrating high resilience and pre-planned redundancy in its military industry. According to these assessments, Iran is actively replacing missile sites, launchers, and key weapons facilities that were destroyed or damaged during the war, often dispersing and hardening new locations. One U.S. assessment now warns that Iran could reconstitute much of its drone capability in as little as 6 months, restoring a core pillar of its long-range strike and proxy support strategy. Despite early U.S. claims of severe damage, fresh intelligence reporting indicates Iran still retains meaningful ballistic missile capabilities and was not disarmed of this option. American assessments suggest that a large share of Iran's missile launchers survived, meaning the country can still fire salvos if conflict resumes at scale. More detailed estimates now say roughly 2/3 of Tehran's launchers remain intact after U.S.-Israeli strikes, underscoring the limits of even intensive air and missile campaigns. Reports add that some buried or hardened missile launchers were located, dug out, and recovered during the current ceasefire, then prepared to return to operational status. Intelligence also indicates that thousands of Iranian drones, estimated at nearly half of Iran's total pre-war drone capacity, are still available for use. Analysts note that Iran's coastal cruise missile network along its shoreline remains largely untouched, with launch sites and support infrastructure still functional. Because of this intact coastal network, Iran retains the ability to threaten or disrupt commercial and military shipping traffic transiting the Strait of Hormuz if tensions spike again. U.S. intelligence assessments further allege that Russia has been helping Iran rebuild after the strikes, including with technical know-how and possibly components. American sources also claim China has continued supplying Iran with missile-related components, despite sanctions and Western diplomatic pressure. Echoing these concerns, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has publicly accused China of assisting Iran's missile production, framing it as a strategic challenge for Israel and its allies.